When Lionel Messi won the World Cup in 2022, he joined an elite list of footballers who managed to complete the sport in their careers. You see, completing football is a very difficult task to achieve, no matter how good or world-class you are. You can have an incredible and enviable career, achieve so much and even be regarded as the GOAT, but still not be able to complete football. That's how difficult of a task it is. Pelé didn't complete football, Maradona didn't complete football, and neither of the Ronaldos completed football. But 9 players managed to achieve this crazy feat, and it's them that we want to talk about in this video today. But first, what does it even mean to complete football? It's simply winning every major trophy available, and then topping it off with the biggest individual prize in football, the Ballon d'Or. So, to qualify to be on this prestigious list, the player must have won the FIFA World Cup, the UEFA Champions League, a league title, a domestic trophy, and then the Ballon d'Or. Got it? Cool. So, now that we're all on the same page about what it means to complete football, let's look at the players who have done it. We'll start with Lionel Messi. If you're watching this video, chances are you've known Messi all your life, so you're probably familiar with his success story. Coming up from the Barcelona Academy, the Argentine wonder kid conquered the footballing universe in no time. At the age of 22, Messi was already so close to completing football. He had already won the UEFA Champions League in 2006 and 2009, a couple of league titles, multiple domestic titles, and the Ballon d'Or in 2009. But all he was missing was the World Cup. He wanted that gold trophy so badly, and he came close to winning it in 2014 after he captained Argentina to the final. But he fell to a 113th minute goal from Germany's Mario Götze. He would go on to win more league titles, domestic trophies, Champions Leagues, and a few more Ballon d'Or awards. But the World Cup still proved elusive despite being surrounded by superstar players in the Argentina national team, like Di Maria, Agüero, Mascherano, and Higuaín. At some point, a lot of his fans were wishing he'd pledged his allegiance to Spain earlier in his career. If he'd done that, he would have completed football way back in 2010 when Spain won the World Cup. But Messi stayed loyal to Argentina, and it hurt for a very long time. He even gave up once in 2016, announcing his immediate international retirement after losing the Copa America final for the 3rd time. But he soon returned and continued fighting, and that fight began to yield results in his 30s. Argentina got a new coach, Lionel Scaloni, and a new goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, and these two helped Messi achieve his dream. First, they won the Copa America in 2021 to break the 28-year trophy drought, then the CONMEBOL UEFA Cup of Champions in 2022, and then the big one, the FIFA World Cup on the 18th of December 2022. Thanks to that World Cup, Messi is not only one of the handful of players who's completed football, he's also the outright most decorated player in football history. And that's along with having the most Ballon d'Or awards and most European golden shoes in history. There's a reason they call him the GOAT. But for some other people, Ronaldinho is the GOAT. He's perhaps the most entertaining footballer to have ever graced the sport. But while he was busy being a showman, he also completed football. He won the UEFA Champions League with Messi at Barcelona in 2006, won multiple league titles and domestic trophies across different countries, won the World Cup with Brazil in 2002, and then crowned it all with the Ballon d'Or, which he won in 2005. And while everyone we will be talking about in this video has indeed completed football, no one's managed to do it quite like Ronaldinho. You see, Dinho remains the only footballer in history to have won the FIFA World Cup, Copa America, FIFA Confederations Cup, Copa Libertadores, UEFA Champions League, and the Ballon d'Or. He is, without doubt, one of the greatest football players to have ever come out of Brazil. Another one of those players is Rivaldo. Just like Ronaldinho, Rivaldo played for Barcelona and AC Milan. And like Ronaldinho, Rivaldo completed football. He won league titles and domestic cups in Brazil, Spain, Italy, and even Greece. He won the UEFA Champions League in 2003 with AC Milan, won the World Cup in 2002 with Brazil, and won the Ballon d'Or in 1999 after an incredible season with Barcelona, and an all-timer performance at the Copa America with Brazil, where he won the title and finished with the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball. Rivaldo was one of the finest players of his generation and was a major part of the deadliest front three in World Cup history, the R trio, along with Ronaldo and Ronaldinho. He officially completed football when he won the Champions League in 2003. But the first man to ever complete football was the great Sir Bobby Charlton. This man played football in the 50s, 60s and 70s and was one of the best players on the planet back then. He won league titles and domestic cups with Manchester United in the 50s and 60s, and in 1968 he helped the club win its first ever Champions League, or the European Cup as it was called back then. But what he's most remembered for is helping England win its first and only World Cup to date way back in 1966. He won the Golden Ball for his amazing performances in that tournament, and won the Ballon d'Or later that same year. So, when Sir Bobby Charlton won the European Cup with Man United in 1968, he effectively completed football, and to date he remains the only English man to have done so. He's the only player to have completed football while playing for an English club. Who will be the next Premier League player to complete football? What's your guess? Now, from the only Englishman on the list to the only Italian, Paolo Rossi. Rossi won a couple of league titles and domestic trophies with Juventus in the 80s and won the Champions League with them in 1985. Then, in 1982, he won the World Cup with Italy in the most dominant fashion, winning both the World Cup Golden Ball and Golden Boot. Unsurprisingly, he was rewarded with the Ballon d'Or later that year for his amazing performances at the World Cup, famously being directly involved in 58% of the goals Italy scored at that tournament on their way to securing their record-equaling third title. So, essentially, Paolo Rossi completed football in 1985 when he won the Champions League, and he remains the only Italian to have ever achieved that feat. The only French man to achieve this feat, however, is Zinedine Zidane. France has produced some true greats who have come close to completing football, but none of them have managed to do it quite like Zizou. Michel Platini won it all, but never won the World Cup. Thierry Henry won it all, but never won the Ballon d'Or. And Karim Benzema won it all, but never won the World Cup. But Zidane won everything throughout his career, and what makes it extra special is that he was always the main man in the story. His iconic goal in the final against Bayer Leverkusen helped Real Madrid win the Champions League in 2002. His brace in the final against Brazil helped France win the World Cup in 1998. And of course, his superb performances helped him win multiple league titles and domestic cups across Italy and Spain. Zidane won the Ballon d'Or in 1998 after his tremendous performances at the World Cup, and he was so close to having the perfect exit on the same stage in 2006. But after scoring in that final goal against Italy, he lost his head and got sent off for a headbutt on Materazzi. So he was forced to watch from the sidelines as France went on to lose on penalties in the very last game of his career. But although it wasn't the fairy tale ending he wanted, it didn't change the fact that Zidane remains the only Frenchman to complete football. But if Mbappe can win the Ballon d'Or and the UEFA Champions League in the coming years, he will join Zidane on this prestigious list. Do you think he'll be able to achieve this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Moving on, Gerd Muller is another player who completed football a long time ago. As far as club football is concerned, he did it all with Bayern Munich. He won multiple league titles and domestic cups with Bayern, and then he helped the club three-peat the Champions League back when it was still called the European Cup. In 1970, he won the Ballon d'Or, and then in 1974, he helped Germany win the World Cup. When he won that World Cup, he effectively completed football, becoming the first ever German to achieve that feat, doing it along with his friend and teammate Franz Beckenbauer. You see, Beckenbauer was teammates with Muller at Bayern and the German national team. So, the pair won the World Cup, league titles, domestic cups, and even three-peated the European Cup together. But while Muller won the Ballon d'Or in 1970, Beckenbauer won it in 1972 and 1976. So, when Germany won the 1974 World Cup, both Muller and Beckenbauer effectively completed football. But Beckenbauer made his history by becoming the first captain to lift the World Cup, Euros and the Champions League. he also remains the only defender to have ever completed football. Now, to complete this list of 9 players who've completed football is everyone's favorite player, Kaka. He isn't the fanciest Brazilian player you'd ever come across, but he was a high IQ, super talented, very effective and very successful footballer. He has the reputation of being the last winner of the Ballon d'Or just before Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi began their dominance of the award for more than a decade. Kaka won a couple of league titles and domestic cups with AC Milan and Real Madrid, and he was part of the Brazil squad that won the World Cup in 2002. Then, in 2007, he helped AC Milan win the UEFA Champions League, and later that year, his performances were rewarded with the Ballon d'Or, finishing ahead of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. That day, Kaka became the 8th player and last Brazilian to complete football. As of 2024, these 9 players are the only footballers to ever complete football. Sir Bobby Charlton, Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Muller, Paolo Rossi, Rivaldo, Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldinho, Kaka and Lionel Messi. But of course, this list could still expand, and some players are close to completing football and could realistically still do it in their careers. Cristiano Ronaldo or Luka Modric could complete football if they win the 2026 World Cup. Kylian Mbappe, Lautaro Martinez and Antoine Griezmann just need to win the UEFA Champions League and the Ballon d'Or to complete football. Neymar, Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri and a couple more players would also need to win the 2026 World Cup and also win the Ballon d'Or, while the likes of N'Golo Kante and Julian Alvarez are only missing a Ballon d'Or. So, who do you think is going to be the 10th man on this very prestigious list of players to complete football? Drop the names in the comments and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it.